Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they think too long and act too late. Right now, there's a gap between who you are and who you could be. And that gap is filled with hesitation. You wait for clarity, for confidence, for the perfect moment. But clarity doesn't come before action. Confidence doesn't arrive first. The moment doesn't become perfect on its own. Thinking without action becomes overthinking. Action without thinking becomes chaos. But when thinking and acting move together, momentum is created, and momentum changes everything. Every breakthrough you admire started as an uncomfortable decision made without guarantees. The people who lead, build, and transform their lives aren't smarter than you. They simply decided that thinking was useless unless it moved their feet forward. This is not about motivation. This is about responsibility. Responsibility to stop rehearsing life in your head and start showing up in it. Because the world doesn't reward intention, it rewards movement. Clarity is not something men discover before they move. It is something they earn by moving. Most men believe they must understand every step before taking the first one. And that belief keeps them stuck in preparation mode. From a man's perspective, hesitation feels responsible, logical, even intelligent. But from the outside, especially from a woman's perspective, it often looks like fear, disguised as caution. Potential trapped behind endless thinking. Action forces the mind to organize itself. When a man acts, his brain stops imagining every possible failure and starts solving real problems. This is why men who take action grow calmer and more decisive over time, while men who wait for certainty grow more anxious. Women instinctively trust men who move forward with imperfect information because movement signals self-belief, direction, and inner stability. Not reckless confidence, but grounded intent. Confidence is not built by having all the answers. It is built by proving to yourself that you can handle the consequences. Men gain respect, both self-respect and external respect, when they act first and refine later. Thinking is valuable, but only when it serves movement. Clarity follows commitment, not the other way around. And every step taken reshapes how a man sees himself and how the world responds to him. Overthinking feels productive to men because it creates the illusion of control. The mind stays busy, plans are revised, risks are analyzed, and yet nothing actually moves forward. From a man's internal perspective, overthinking feels like responsibility and intelligence at work. From a woman's perspective, it often looks like delay, emotional avoidance, or fear of being seen, trying and failing. Overthinking is what happens when thinking loses its partner action. Men replay conversations, decisions, and futures because action would force a verdict. Movement would reveal whether the idea works or not, and that exposure threatens identity. Many men would rather stay mentally exhausted than risk physical rejection or visible failure, even though the cost is confidence slowly leaking away. Momentum doesn't require certainty, it requires courage. When a man acts, his thoughts simplify because reality demands focus. Women are drawn to this shift because decisive movement communicates reliability and leadership, not perfection. Overthinking pushes outcomes further away, while action collapses distance between intention and result. The moment a man moves, the mind stops negotiating and starts adapting. And the energy once wasted on endless analysis becomes fuel for progress. Belief is not something men magically feel before they move. It is something they build through evidence. Many men wait to feel confident before acting, assuming belief should arrive first like a green light. Inside a man's mind, doubt feels like a warning sign, but from a woman's perspective, waiting for belief often appears as uncertainty about direction, not a lack of ability. Action creates proof. And proof rewires identity. When a man takes action despite doubt, his brain records survival, progress, and competence. Each step becomes data that says, I can handle this, and belief grows quietly in the background. Women respond to this shift because consistent action communicates emotional safety and leadership. Not loud confidence, but steady presence. Belief strengthens when action replaces imagination. Men who act stop, ask. ING, who they might become, and start seeing who they are becoming. The world responds differently to movement, offering feedback instead of judgment. Thinking prepares the ground, but action lays the foundation. And every decision made in motion reshapes how a man trusts himself and how others learn to trust him. Fear grows in stillness because the mind has too much space to imagine everything that could go wrong. For men, fear often hides behind logic, caution, and the need to be prepared, even when preparation has already turned into avoidance. Inside, fear feels overwhelming and personal. But from a woman's perspective, it can look like emotional distance or a lack of commitment to move forward. Movement interrupts fear by forcing focus. When a man takes the first step, his attention shifts from imagined danger to real effort, and the body begins to regulate what the mind exaggerates. Fear doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable, smaller, less dominant. Women sense this shift quickly because action signals presence and engagement, traits associated with trust and stability. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move with it. Men who act learn that fear is not a stop sign, but a signal of growth. Each step forward reduces the power fear has over identity and self-worth. Motion reframes fear from a threat into feedback, and what once felt paralyzing becomes fuel for progress. Momentum is what separates men who talk about their potential from men who live inside it. Talent feels like a blessing, but momentum is a choice repeated daily. From a man's perspective, talent offers comfort because it suggests worth without risk. From a woman's perspective, unused talent often looks like wasted promise because ability without movement creates frustration rather than admiration. Consistency changes identity faster than brilliance. When a man shows up again and again, even imperfectly, his confidence becomes grounded instead of fragile. Momentum removes the pressure to be exceptional in every moment and replaces it with permission to improve. Women are drawn to this rhythm because reliability signals safety, direction, and emotional maturity more than flashes of skill ever could. Momentum simplifies decision-making. Men in motion spend less time questioning their worth because progress provides feedback. Talent waits to be noticed, but momentum demands engagement with reality, and reality always responds. Each small win reinforces belief, discipline, and self-respect, while inaction slowly erodes them. Progress compounds when effort becomes habitual. Men who build momentum stop comparing themselves to others and start measuring themselves against yesterday. Women sense this internal alignment because movement creates presence, not performance. Talent may open a door, but momentum keeps a man walking through it, shaping how he sees himself and how the world learns to take him seriously. Perfection becomes a trap when men confuse it with readiness. Many men delay action because they want to get it right the first time, believing mistakes will permanently define them. Inside a man's mind, perfection feels like protection from judgment. But from a woman's perspective, it often appears as hesitation and a lack of commitment to growth rather than a pursuit of excellence. Purpose gives action direction even when outcomes are uncertain. When a man is clear on why he is moving, he doesn't need everything to be flawless to begin. Purpose anchors effort, allowing mistakes to become adjustments instead of failures. Women are drawn to men who act with purpose because intention communicates emotional stability, direction, and self-awareness, traits that feel stronger than polished performance. Action guided by purpose builds resilience. Men who move forward despite imperfection learn to trust themselves in unpredictable situations. Each imperfect step reinforces adaptability and courage, while waiting for perfection strengthens fear. From a woman's perspective, a man who corrects course while moving demonstrates maturity and reliability, not weakness. Growth accelerates when progress replaces polish. Men who act with purpose stop performing for approval and start building something meaningful. Purpose keeps effort aligned when motivation fades and results are unclear. Perfection demands control, but purpose demands commitment, and commitment transforms how a man leads himself and how others experience his presence.